And good evening, barflies, lounge lizards, and welcome to Midnite Martinis, the show where I take a look at something from my personal collection. And tonight we're going to be doing another one of those videos where we just look at something from my shelves. And this is my Sci-Fi Shelf, which is basically the biggest and the best of my sci-fi figures and toys and collectibles that I have, all in one handy-dandy little glass space. And the first guy I want to look at is easily the rarest thing I own and my absolute favorite collectible, and that is my Super Inframan 6 scale figure. And from what I understand, if anyone else knows differently, let me know in the comments. But from what I understand, there was only like 600 or 700, less than 1,000 of these made, and they were only released at a Hong Kong trade show. And so I saw pictures online and I wanted one, and it's just something I never in a million years imagined I would own. But then several years back, I was walking through kind of a flea market type deal, and I see one right there on the shelf on sale for only $60 with just a couple of other open to use 6 scale figures. Obviously the guy had no idea what he had, because I've seen these sell on eBay for usually around $800 to $900. I mean, granted, those are in the package, but still, this is a rare, pricey figure that I am just so happy I stumbled across that random day at Frankenson's. And behind Inframan is the very glary, hard to make out Spock Barbie. And it's just a great likeness, which you probably can't tell in this video. An interesting thing too is, yeah, I like Spock very much, but I definitely think I'm more of a Kirk person than I am Spock, yet I find myself collecting Spock way more often than Kirk. I guess Spock just has the aesthetic I like for the shelves or something. I don't know. You can't explain me. I can't explain me. And beside Mr. Spock here is another of my favorite pieces, and this is the Robbie the Robot figure. He's close to 12 inches, if he's not, that I got from Walmart. And it was really funny, or not really funny, but it was something. I had been on a big search online trying to find a Robbie the Robot figure, because I just really wanted something, a model kit, just some Robbie the Robot something. And my search ended in complete failure. The few things I found were old and expensive. About a week later, I was at Walmart, looked down to the bottom shelf, and there on clearance was this guy. And he is cool, he walks, he lights up. Just one of the coolest releases. I don't know how it slipped out there and why this figure's not just all over the place with all the collectors buying it, but either way, super cool. And then another glary thing you probably can't make out too well is my Lost in Space Cyclops model kit. And what's kind of funny is I collect model kits. I absolutely love them, but as I've mentioned before, I have no kind of painting skills, no kind of modeling skills. I just like them for the full presentation when they have really nice retro style artwork and packaging, like the Lost in Space ones. And I will never try to put this together. And you know, I always complain about people that leave all their toys in the boxes. Well, I guess I'm guilty of leaving model kits in the boxes, so I will go stand in the corner of shame as soon as this video is over. I need to go there anyway. You know, some stuff went down. And of course, beneath the Lost in Space Cyclops is the Lost in Space Robot model kit, the mini one by Mobius. And talk about great looking packaging. I really like that one. And since it's so small, it was a much cheaper model kit. But I just love that retro look to the packaging. And moving right along, we have my Jet Jaguar figure. And I've wanted a Jet Jaguar for a long time. And you know, Godzilla toys were kind of obscure when I was a kid, and especially too when they started releasing the Trendmaster stuff later, we started to get some cool Godzilla figures and stuff, but a lot of them were new looking and stylized, and they didn't hit on stuff like Jet Jaguar. And so when I finally got this guy, I was really pleased. And I want to say I actually got him, I was out on a Christmas Eve in Little Tokyo several years back and saw him at one of the little toy stores because a lot of stuff was open Christmas Eve in Little Tokyo. And right in the middle here we have a little vinyl figure of my biological father. And beside that guy we have the Kamen Rider Black, but the Masked Rider figure from the very short-lived Saban Masked Rider series from the 90s. which I actually really didn't watch that one, even though I was a big Power Rangers person. I just liked the figures, and I just thought that was a great looking figure. I've always dug the Kamen Rider designs with the insect motif. The kind of robot-y looking grasshoppers I've always thought was super cool. And of the Kamen Riders, next to the original, the kind of Kamen Rider Black in that era, when it got really dark, and that's kind of my favorite of the Kamen Rider type stuff. And speaking of American releases, we have the Ultraman figure from, I think it was Ultraman Fight the Future. And that was a case of, they didn't actually show the show in my hometown, so I never actually got to watch it, but they released the toys at the local Toys R Us, and the video game for the Super Nintendo hit the Blockbuster Video. So that was kind of my exposure to Ultraman, was first the toys and then that Super Nintendo video game, which I remember renting that along with the Super with Joe Pesci. And last we have what actually might be my rarest piece now that I think about it. Not sure because I've never seen this guy again, but this is a little small pewter figurine of the Cyclops from the 7th Voyage of Sinbad. I got this guy at the very first comic book or sci-fi convention I ever went to back in, I want to say it was 87, and it was the one in my hometown where Doctor Who died. And that is a true story, which I've told many times. I'm sure most of you watching this probably know that story already, but yeah, sure enough, Doctor Who died at that convention. But I didn't know anything about any of that. I just know that I saw the Harryhausen Cyclops, and that was the first time I'd ever seen anything even remotely resembling a toy or a figure for that guy. And yeah, I just absolutely had to have that. And it's still one of my favorite collectibles. And that's all the time we have this week. I just want to do a quick look at some of these neato, fantastico sci-fi things on the shelf. Please like, comment, subscribe, keep it wacky.